I have here the ideology iceberg. It was posted on my subreddit about a year ago, and here's the credit link. And now I'm gonna look at it, and it's content. What are you gonna do about it? All right, so in the nice part of the iceberg where we haven't descended into madness yet, we have some basic political ideologies. Obviously, liberalism, social democracy, humanism, socialism, technocracy, democracy, environmentalism, feminism, Enlightenment thought. And then you have libertarianism, tribalism, militarism, conservatism. Now, it also has things on here like racism. I'm not sure hating a group of people constitutes a political ideology, but, I mean, because I don't think there's enough substance there. You can't just hate a group of people and call that a political ideology. Am I right, my fellow anti-centrists? This is just the tip of the iceberg, okay? You haven't really started digging deep into what sort of connections your poor little mind can have about politics. So let's keep going. I'm not going to talk too much about any of this stuff. All right, now we're in like just underneath the iceberg territory. So we have Marxist-Leninism, Juche, Maoism, a lot of, classical communist ideologies and ideologies that are still in theory practiced by certain states around the world today. It's obviously wacky when you compare it to liberal democracy, but they're still being put into practice, so it's not completely insane yet, but we're getting there. Post-truth, anti-natalism, postmodernism. Okay, so post-truth, postmodernism, those aren't political ideologies. Those are just ways of describing culture, so I'm not sure why they're even on this list. But antinatalism, that's a fun one. It's basically the idea that people shouldn't be born because if you do a quick hedonistic calculus, there's more suffering in the world than there is joy. So by being born, you're essentially doing someone a great disservice. If you want to look at for example, a spectrum, you could have on one end of the spectrum being antinatalist, nobody should ever be born, and then you have like a hypernatalist who wants, no matter the circumstances, people should be born. Maybe even people should be forced to gestate as much as possible. Oh, okay. Reactionaries, nationalists, minarchists, subjectivists, anarcho-capitalists, pirate politics. I'm not actually sure what pirate politics is. Let's look this up. Civil rights, direct democracy, including e-democracy, participation in government, reform of copyright and patent laws. Basically, this is just the gist that I'm getting. It's like the ideology for the Pirate Bay, and with a heavy, focus on online stuff. So, but as you get more into the computer stuff, this will get more and more weird. But okay, also, this is quick, just for my own purposes. Mercantism? I'm pretty sure they mean mercantilism. Let's look that up. Mercantism. Yeah, they mean mercantilism. So, I feel like I should make a counter of how many spelling mistakes I find in this iceberg. So boom, bottom left, boom. Okay, while we're looking for spelling mistakes, let's go back up to the Der Pleb tier. Feudalism, boom. Fusionism. See, okay, you might look at some of these and think that the maker of this iceberg just made them up. Actually, fusionism is a real thing. It was this idea of like fusing kind of like the economically right-wing and the culturally right-wing branches of the Conservative Party into a unified force, kind of like a moderate right unity. That was like, I don't know, I think that was like 60 years ago or something. Objectivism was the ideology of Ayn Rand. Objectivists don't call it a political ideology. It's more of like an overarching philosophy of everything, but it ends up just being like an almost anarcho-capitalist political ideology. Ludism is basically, you're not quite at N-prim levels yet. For example, Ted Kaczynski, a lot of people don't view him as an anarcho-primitivist because they view anarcho-primitivism to be like more of like a real focus on the tribe. Ted Kaczynski was more like just he didn't like the new technology, the newfangled technology. You might call a follower of Ted Kaczynski not an Anprim, but a neo-Luddite or a Luddite. Okay, now we've reached quirky teen tier. So if you watch drag videos, you are here. I typically don't, go beyond this point because, well, once you go beyond this point, you find subreddits with like 100 followers, and you're like, can you count this as a political ideology if some 18-year-old on Discord wrote up a little manifesto and flung it into the wilds, and then a bunch of hungry 16-year-olds lapped it up And the answer is yes. It's the new industrial revolution, but for political ideologies. Grab one while they're hot. So we have the classics, Nazbol, Posadist. We also have Gaddafiism for, Gaddafi, Pol Pot, Zizek, Euro-communism, anarcho-primitivism. I think, yeah, anarcho-primitivism being in this tier is probably right. Most of the post-left ideologies are here, so egoist anarchism. Oh, okay. Post-left's actually down here in tier 4, that's weird. So, like the anti-civ ideologies, like basically just broad anarchist critiques of civilization, a lot of the post-lefty stuff. Mutualism, kind of like, again, like anarcho-centrism, just down. Falg SC. Should I look this up? Am I gonna regret it? Alright, let's do it. Falg SC. Oh, fully automated luxury gay space communism. It gives me a very, this one specifically gives me very much Star Trek vibes where like, people are like, oh yes, we got rid of money. We're so good now and we'll live in the future. But just gayer. Situationism has to do with the situationalists. The Situationist International were dudes who would like, they would like go for a walk to like fight capitalism, because like if you go for a walk, then capitalism can't tell you where to go. It's just like a disorganized walk where you're just like walking around, you're like taking a wrong turn, and capitalism can't control you, man. I'm not going to go over every single ideology, obviously, because we'd be here we'd be here longer than you have the attention span for. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. Okay, so up here we have corporatocracy, but out down here we have corporatism. What's the difference between those two? The difference is corporatocracy is when the corporation has more power than the state, and corporatism is when the state controls the corporations. So corporatism is actually the economic branch of the ideology of fascism. Deep ecology, that's a great one. It states that the only unjust hierarchy is between man and nature. So it's basically like, free the lobsters, man. Why do they gotta be in cages? Collapsitarianism. I'm 99% sure that one's made up. Okay, so I have one result, and it's from Urban Dictionary. It's great. One who believes that society should collapse. Become a libertarian for a few months until you realize the whole system is messed up. Then move on to anarchy, where you want to change the system. Shortly after that, become a collapsitarian and sit back and watch while it all burns. Oh, you gotta bring the popcorn. I hate it. Longism, obviously, that's Huey Long Dong Long. I'll try not to dwell too much on things I've already talked about. Okay, this one's fun. Impossibilism. Honestly, I don't know much about impossibilism. I just know it's got a funny name. And other than that, once I start having to read theory, I check out. Like it or not, communists, the theory of the youth will be disseminated through 35-second TikToks, and there's nothing you can do about it. I will not read Capito. You cannot make me. All right. Now we're squarely in NEET tier. So, you don't have a job. You've been spending too much time online. Your poor little brain needs a break at this point. To be honest, I've heard of maybe only like 60% of these ones, and I have been immersed in this shit for like 2 years. So don't feel too bad if like none of this makes any sense at this point. I'll do my best to guide you through here, but the waters are getting really murky. We're on the bottom of the iceberg now. Dugin was the writer of what you might call the fourth political theory. So like a fourth positionist, whereas fascism claimed to be the third position between socialism, communism, and capitalism. Fascism positioned itself as a third position because they were like, ooh, look, we're better than a political binary. Congratulations. Fourth positionist managed to just be fascism, but economically left-wing. I'm pretty sure. GIAC. So we seem to have skipped accelerationism. We just went to the specific kinds of accelerationism. GIAC stands for gender accelerationism. UAC is unconditional accelerationism. ANAC. What's ANAC? Oh. That was just a guess. Call this ideology ANAC. Anarchism is often phrased as the abolition of unjust hierarchies. This is actually a terrible definition. No one wants hierarchies that they say are unjust. Well, yeah, that's actually people who are in favor of unjust hierarchies say that they're like the hierarchies are just because they exist. That's when you get like more on the right wing, the hierarchies justify themselves kind of philosophy. See, this is what happens. This is what happens. Someone just makes up an ideology, and then I look it up, and then there's like a Medium article with 200 claps, and now I gotta treat it seriously because it's on an iceberg. No, I refuse. There needs to be like some kind of like, it has to like break out of a certain amount of notoriety before I feel like it's an ideology, you know? Otherwise, everybody and their children, I was gonna say everybody and their mother, but their mothers probably don't care. Everybody and their children are making ideologies, and they say, hey Dreg, I came up with this new ideology. It's where you have capitalism, but you add communism. Whoa! Whoa! Alright, what else we got here? Right accelerationism. Yeah. Italian futurism. Esoteric Hitlerism. The Nazis had some like esoteric backbone to them. And the esoteric fascists are like really into all the pagan imagery, the black sun, that kind of stuff. Christian anarchism. Christian anarchism, that's a fun one. Ideologues did a interview with a Christian anarchist. Check it out. Scum, I'm glad this is here. This is the manifesto by a schizophrenic lady who shot Andy Warhol. And basically it just said men are scum. Dare I say, based? Okay, this first of all, another spelling error. Bing. It should be Freudo-Marxism. Yeah, this dude keeps confusing the U's and the E's, so I'm starting to think he's not an English speaker, which is fair enough. Now I feel bad about mocking the typos. I haven't looked that deep into Freudo-Marxism, but my basic impression of it must be something like, oh, you want to, like, use your capital to accrue more capital? It must be because you want to have sex with your mom. I don't know. Xenarchism. Okay. Oh, okay. So this is an anarchist school of thought that tries to, like, incorporate Buddhist teachings. There's a subreddit here I'm going to check out. But this is also reminding me of... It actually reminds me of, like, the counterpart to alt-Buddhism. Hilariously, they both have, like, no followers, like 580-ish. Ay. I'm sorry for getting your subreddit banned, I really am. Wait a second, there's some Buddhist infighting. I need to read this. I practice and admire an uncompromising flavor of Theravada Buddhism, which has warrior mentality, considered a conservative, but ultra-Orthodox Buddhism is not rooted in Dhamma, even superficially, so it cannot rightfully be considered orthodox in any way. Anyways, once you add Buddhism to political ideologies, everything just starts getting better for you. Patchwork. Patchwork is kind of like a vaguely anarcho-capitalist / neo-reactionary idea where it's like decentralize everything, but like corporations take over, because if you look at a structure of a corporation, then the CEO is kind of like a monarch. So it's sort of like pseudo-monarchy, but through capitalism. It's like very authoritarian, right? All right, I've had enough. I've had enough of neat tier. Let's go down to the historian. Let's see. So it seems like on this tier, it's mainly like really old ideas that are no longer relevant, and they're like super niche. I recognize almost none of them. I recognize Peronism, but I don't even really know what it is. Fordism, I recognize. It's basically the idea that, like, it's basically the idea of mass production, industrialization. I don't think it should be this deep. So let's pick a few that sound interesting and keep moving, because it's too dark. I can't see. Aluminism. Never heard of that. Let's find out what it is. Aluminism? Oh, well, it's got a Wikipedia article. It's more than I was expecting. One people principle was the political ideology of South Korea under its first president, Syngman Rhee. The Ullman principle has been likened by contemporary scholars to the Nazi idea of the master race. This is Nazism for Koreans? No shit, huh? The Koreans were definitely the Nazis of the Asians. The Ullman principle became the central ideology of Rhee's National Society, and its successor, the Liberal Party, established in 1951. Is this fishhook theory? I tried to understand Peronism at some point, but I did not have enough dopamine for it. Let's try again. Peronism, also called Justicialism, is an Argentine political movement based on the ideas and legacy of Argentine President Juan Perón. It's been an influential movement in the 20th and 21st century Argentine politics. Since 1946, Peronists won 10 out of the 13 presidential elections which they have been allowed to run. It's a very impressive track record for something I've never heard of. Two arms of Peronism are social justice and social help. National unity and not struggle. It wants heroes, not martyrs. Yeah, it seems like a Argentinian communism kind of deal. Argentinian socialism kind of deal. Uh-oh! Juan Perón had sympathized with Axis powers, but also expressed sympathy for Jewish rights and established diplomatic relations with Israel in 1949. Since then, more than 45,000 Jews have immigrated to Israel from Argentina. Mystical anarchism. Dare we descend? Mystical anarchism. A tendency within the Russian symbolist movement after 1906. A mishmash of Nietzsche, Herzen, Bakunin, and Dostoevsky's rejection of necessity. This is why I don't read books. It's too much. We have to press forward. But first an ad. Hey, I'm wearing Raycon wireless E25 earbuds. They're super comfortable and come with a variety of fit options. And guess what else? They've got a 45-day free return policy. So if you don't like it, you can just send it back unproblematically. See, with Raycons, I can unplug from my screens and finally get back to nature while still being plugged in my... So it's almost like I'm still using technology. I can't get away from it, but just in those brief moments where you're not spending 16 hours a day in front of a screen, you're still consuming content. Like, it's just inescapable, really. Raycon earbuds give you 6 hours. Raycon earbuds give you 6... Raycon earbuds give you 6 hours.
You have 6 hours
of battery life. They're discreet. They're cute. They come at half the price of other earbuds. And now to show me typing in my vanity URL. So go to buyraycon.com/dreg for 15% off your order. Creepy computer repair people. This is really, I'd say, the bottom of the iceberg. Everything beyond this is just, I think he just makes stuff up. So techno-primitivism, a classic. I think this would probably be, well, okay, techno-primitivism. Mormon transhumanism, that one's fun. Exitocracy, or is it exitocracy? So, all right, already we have the foundations of a great idea, okay? One upvote on Reddit, on a subreddit with 8 people in it, leading to a post from a blog that does not exist. Acid communism was just like a variant of communism, but everybody was on LSD. And for some reason, that just made them acid communists instead of anarcho-communists. So, nega-situationism. Okay, so the only place that I can see it is in some random guy's tag on an anarcho-capitalist subreddit. It's got 10 results on Google. I don't know what you expect. By the way, I really like the tier name Creepy Computer Repair People, because whenever you get a creepy computer repair person around some kind of drug and politics, it never goes well. If I had a time machine, I would go back and prevent Nick Land from doing all those amphetamines. The alt woke. That one's fun. Let's see. I'm just gonna leave it at this. The catalytic left, post-Landian left accelerationism, the dark insurrection, free market socialism, apocalyptic communism, intersectional xenofeminism, lifestyle branding as political ideology, and vice versa. Fear and selfishness feed into online advertisement, which leads into the attention economy, which leads into sales of products and ideologies, which leads into the autonomous capitalist algorithmic virus and its human co-conspirators. Hey, that's me! You may not like it, but this genuinely is some of the most relevant descriptions of the system we live in. Which is funny, because it's like incomprehensive. Just like the system we live in! Woke is a misnomer. It's actually asleep and myopic. Woke is a safe space for the easily distracted and defensive pop culture inbred. Woke is the left curled up in a fetal ball, scribbling think pieces about Broad City while its rights get trampled by ascendant fascism, domestically and globally. Dang, even the left accelerationists don't like the wokes. Dark mutualism. Okay, I wanna get past this one, but at the same time, I wanna look up what dark mutualism is. I'm on a niche subreddit with something with like very little upvotes. A neo-reactionary line of thought holding that anarchism ran into an impasse due to its embrace of communism. Yeah, it doesn't seem like mutualists are too into the dark mutualists, but we're too fucking deep. Okay, nano-socialism? What is LRX? How come when I look up left reactionary, the suggested searches are Contrapoints Twitter, How Tall is Contrapoints, Contrapoints blog, Contrapoints INS. Now, this is either rule by people from the future or something to do with something else. Capito nationalism. I'm not sure how this differs from authoritarian capitalism, but it probably is something to do with the whole moldbug idea of like corporations ruling the world. Wait a second. It seems that there is a subreddit about this with 4 members. Excellent. All right, we got to keep moving here. Web surfers, archaeo-distributism, Republican phalangism, Juche capitalism, just normal stuff. Bolnaz. I never thought I'd have to see Bolnaz again. All right, let's look up Bolnaz. Bolshevik nationalism. Okay. So, I'm getting strong Luigi vibes. Okay, really all I know about Bolnaz is their virulent hatred towards white people, but also like a respect for Mexican landowners. Mayocide. Mayocide is the genocide of white people by diluting their genes into other races. I see avid Dreg fans here. Someone's been taking a page out of the book of the reverse ethno-state. But they also want to separate every economic class into class ethno-states, class-no-states, where prices are adjusted to wages. Surprisingly based. Thumbs up, but we're gonna keep moving. Also, I'm not really sure how that has anything to do with National Bolshevism. As a Polkumpal anarchy page, I'm gonna... Bolnaz mob. Is this gonna be a thing? Should I invest in Bolnaz now while it's still a seedling? Or is it gonna die out? I guess time will tell. Naz sent Bol. Am I going to regret looking this up? National centrist Bolshevism. A synthesis of neoliberalism and national Bolshevism. Oh. Yeah. Oh. This clears things up. Apparently it was posted on my subreddit and removed by Reddit spam filters. Synthesis of the current dialectic between Nazbol and neoliberalism. Oh. So it's a centrist position because neoliberalism is kind of like the opposite of national Bolshevism. It's the center position between the two. Interesting. So like, National Social Democrat. I think in my Bernie Trump video, it's like, you know, the national, like Trump is a nationalist and then Bernie is a social democrat. So it's like national social democracy. Cleaner Bowl. I blocked myself from using Twitter because it hurts my brain. Kinarchy. Alright. We've reached Dritter tier. It's time to go back. Alright, Surrealist tier. Let's go. Urkanism. Like Erminism. Why is it always racism? Post-right Fukuyamanism. How many... It's too many posts. No wave economics. One big club sandwich. Marxist, Leninist, Dengist, Calvinist, Keynesianist, Maoist, Reaganist, Titoist, Drumfist, Saloist, Foucaultist thought. Fern the Humanism. Kaijuch. Geo-anarchism. That's real! All these are fake, but geo-anarchism is real. Look. Geo-libertarianism and anarchism. All individuals have an equal right to own land. Occupying land incurs an indemnity to other individuals, which should be resolved in a decentralized fashion through a system of polycentric law. Geo-anarchism is the most extreme individualist interpretation of Georgism. Okay, now we're in the Marco-Junginist tier. We have cyclonopedology, just the concept of society, union, globe matrix, surrealist cults, anti-masonry, etherkin actualization. I assume that's like a like a stronger form of transhumanism where you actually can become an etherkin, like in real life. I'm gonna just look up one thing here because I'm pretty sure this is all bullshit. Political atavism, tendency to revert to something ancient or ancestral. So, like, to take the concept of politics and make it older. Cyclonopedology. We've gone too deep. Okay, we're reaching the final tiers here. We have the 40th International, Slavoj Žižek, Sovgoth, Communist, American Tankyism, Lycospheric Esofascism, Anarcho-Granicoid Ecology, the Kyoto Steven Universe Style Imperialism, Democratic Socialist Hyper-MGTOW Jim Bro, Anarcho-Dust Bowl, Dust Capital.
All I see is darkness. Maybe I get some glimmer of light. Back when I started to sink, I barely even saw the light of the sun fading away until it was gone.
Dust.